Himalayan Beauty's YouTube channel decided to start reviewing some books that I read. I'll do books on personal finance, entrepreneurship, and whatever else I think is cool. Think and Grow Rich book by Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich is one of the books I have seen most often on the recommended reading list of people in the present day who have achieved great things. The book was written at the commission of Andrew Carnegie and based on interviews of 500 of those who history now remembers as the greatest men of the early 20th century, including Henry Ford, J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, Theodore Roosevelt, Wilbur Wright, and W. Howard Taft. First published in 1937, it has now sold more than 70 million copies, giving it the distinction of being the all-time bestseller in the personal success category. One desire, the starting point of all achievement. It may be stating the obvious, but growing rich starts with the desire to do so. The desire discussed here is not simply wishing, but is an intense, burning obsession, which must be coupled with both a plan and persistence in sticking to the plan. The author presents a 6-part method to ensure that this is the type of desire you are starting with. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Determine exactly what you intend to give for this money. Establish a definite date by which you intend to acquire this money. Create a definite plan to acquire the money, and take the first step immediately. Put the 4 items above into a clear, concise sentence describing each part. Read the statement aloud twice daily, in the morning and at night. The principle here is that desire has ways to transmute, transform, into its physical equivalent. This is the beginning of the key principle of the book, that the subconscious mind acts beneath the surface to accomplish what it is directed to accomplish. 2. Faith, visualization of, and belief in attainment of desire. Of course, the subconscious mind must believe that something is possible in order to act on it. Faith is an interesting concept, but in this context the author defines it as a state of mind which may be induced, or created, by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind, through the principle of autosuggestion. He goes on to assert, repetition of affirmation of orders to your subconscious mind is the only known method of voluntary development of the emotion of faith. It is by this practice that you can convince your subconscious mind to translate that impulse into its physical equivalent, by the most practical procedure available. The author attributes both good and ill fortune to this practice. In other words, someone who lets himself believe negative things has communicated to his subconscious to act upon those negative beliefs and translate them into reality. Someone who neglects this practice, and allows his subconscious to go where it will, risks being set up for failure by the operation of the subconscious that will continue regardless. If you're like me, you're getting pretty skeptical at this point, so let me illustrate with a practical example from outside the book. It has been well established that consciously choosing to exhibit confident body language when you are in fact not feeling confident will actually make you confident. See Amy Cuddy's TED Talk on the subject here. Various experiments have shown the natural mechanics of this process, with the release or inhibition of certain neurochemicals, testosterone, cortisol, etc. The point, however, is that a conscious choice influences your subconscious, which in turn directly and immediately causes a change in outcomes in the external world. The author recommends deceiving your subconscious in a similar way, by acting as if you have already achieved whatever it is you are instructing your subconscious mind to do. 3. Autosuggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind. This is another one of those words that probably sounded strange to Napoleon Hill's contemporaries, and definitely sounds strange in the 21st century. Simply put, autosuggestion is the practice of communicating to yourself using your conscious mind for the purpose of convincing your subconscious. As humans, we can exercise complete control over what reaches our subconscious mind, through our 5 senses, but most people don't often exercise that control. The author asserts that exercising this control requires both conscious attention, and the mixing of emotion, a word the author uses interchangeably with belief or faith, with what you tell yourself. He presents repetitive visualization as the best method of accomplishing this mixture, actually picturing the appearance of a specific amount of money, consistently over time. Eventually, this will cue your subconscious to hand over specific plans to begin to make it happen. The author recommends that twice a day, morning and night, you close your eyes, say out loud the amount of money you intend to obtain, when you intend to obtain it, and how, in general terms, you intend to obtain it. In addition, he contends you must write the statement down, place it where you will see it in the morning and at night, and commit it to memory. This is the core of the book, combining desire with faith to successfully auto-suggest achievements to your subconscious mind. The ensuing chapters consist of various tools for successfully applying this practice. 4. Specialized knowledge, personal experiences or observations. In this chapter, the author finally makes a down-to-earth assertion that general knowledge itself is useless in accumulating wealth. You must have specific knowledge and skills: how to fix a leaky faucet, diagnose a disease, build a financial model, etc., in order to add value and be paid for it. While this is a commonly misunderstood principle, it should be evident to anyone that general education does not correlate with wealth. Instead, specific knowledge applied to specific tasks is what actually leads to money. This is one of the central themes of one of the other classic books about wealth, Rich Dad Poor Dad: What the Rich Teach Their Kids About Money That the Poor and Middle Class Do Not. In Rich Dad Poor Dad, author Robert Kiyosaki contrasts in detail his highly educated but monetarily poor father with his best friend's dad, who lacked distinguished formal education but spent his life building specialized knowledge and growing rich in the process. Of course, you don't necessarily need to have the specific knowledge in your own head. You could also simply make sure to have access to those who do. However you gain access to specialized knowledge, the application of imagination to that knowledge is what leads to the ideas that in turn lead to wealth. 5. Imagination, the workshop of the mind. Mr. Hill separates imagination into two conceptual types: synthetic imagination, which simply rearranges existing ideas into new concepts, and creative imagination, which creates something from nothing. See 0 to 1, Notes on Startups, or How to Build the Future by Peter Thiel for the opposing viewpoint on the importance of the two types. Transforming desire into money requires specific plans, which come most often through synthetic imagination. The author scoffs at the idea that riches come from hard work. More often, he contends, riches of great quantity have come in response to definite demands, based upon the application of definite principles, when a creator of ideas and a seller of ideas got together and worked in harmony. The ideas that come from imagination are the forces that cause things to come into being. You must add imagination to specialized knowledge to grow rich. I'd recommend you check out James Altucher's Daily Practice for a more detailed guide on how to exercise your idea muscle and become an idea machine. 6. Organized planning, the crystallization of desire into action. This sixth step toward riches requires an alliance with a group of people for the purpose of carrying out your plans, the mastermind that will be discussed later in further detail. To succeed, you must be sure to compensate these individuals in some manner, meet with them at least twice a week, and maintain harmony with each individual in the group. Faultless plans are essential for the growing of riches, and only the abilities and imaginations of multiple individuals will allow the creation of plans that are perfect, or as near so as possible. This process of planning must be continuous and persistent, since failure will often come before success despite your best efforts. You must select individuals who are likewise persistent. In addition, you must develop the qualities of a leader if you expect to lead such individuals in any endeavor. This is the lengthiest chapter of the book, and in order to avoid getting lost in the details, I will refrain from listing the 11 qualities of leaders that Mr. Hill presents, as well as his 10 major causes of leadership failure, 30 causes of failure in life in general, and 28 questions you should be asking yourself annually to gauge your progress. There are any number of insights within this list, but nothing monumental that isn't already discussed by other authors on the subject of success. The takeaway here is that you should be in the regular practice of considering these matters and creating organized plans to address them. 7. Decision, the mastery of procrastination. However, one cause of failure stood out to the author above all others in his analysis of successful and unsuccessful people: the lack of decision. He claims that without exception, all successful people have the habit of making decisions promptly, and of changing them slowly. People who have no desire of their own are heavily influenced by the opinions of others, and are not likely to succeed. Great accomplishments come from courageous decisions. The ability to decide quickly comes from knowing what it is you want, and it is that ability that defines leaders. As the author states, the world has the habit of making room for the man whose words and actions show that he knows where he is going. 8. Persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. The addition of willpower to desire is the basis of persistence, which must be applied to the other principles in this book in order to grow rich. Persistence is a state of mind that can be cultivated by having definiteness of purpose, desire, self-reliance, definiteness of plans, accurate knowledge, cooperation, willpower, and habit. 9. Power of the master mind, the driving force. In this chapter, Mr. Hill delves further into the necessity and power of the master mind discussed earlier, discussing both the economic and psychic features of having such a group of individuals to support you. The economic is simple, as discussed earlier. The combination of experience and brain power is a serious economic advantage. However, despite the pages devoted to discussing the psychic feature of the master mind, that particular component is more difficult to pin down. I'm personally skeptical of the author's discussion of how the spiritual units of energy of each mind form an affinity, and I'm unable to translate the concept in a way that reconciles with modern scientific and psychological understanding, as I have been able to do with earlier concepts. However, there are abundant examples of the master mind at work, from the earliest annals of history, to the founding fathers of America, to the PayPal mafia of modern times, which illustrate the phenomenon that Mr. Hill attempted to describe. 10. The mystery of sex transmutation. Just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, this chapter takes the prize for most bizarre title. Actually, the concept is fairly simple, because sexual desire is the most powerful human desire, the exercising of willpower to redirect this compulsion from physical expression to another productive purpose or creative outlet is an extremely powerful tool. As the author puts it, when driven by this desire, men develop keenness of imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability unknown to them at other times. Without specifying any names, the book asserts that certain men of great accomplishment credit the ability to exercise sex transmutation for their success. I'll leave you to ponder the awkwardness, political incorrectness, and veracity of this concept without further comment. 11. The subconscious mind, the connecting link. Specifically addressing the central subject of this book, the author reminds us that directing the subconscious mind via the other principles discussed throughout this book is something that can be done only through habit. To grow rich, you must continually draw upon the positive emotions, rather than allow your mind to dwell on the negative ones. Faith cannot coexist with fear. 12. The brain, a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. In this chapter,
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill examines the psychological power of thought and the brain in the process of furthering your career for both monetary and personal satisfaction. Originally published in 1937, this is one of the all-time self-help classics and a must-read for investors and entrepreneurial types. The power of thought. When a man really desires a thing so deeply that he is willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of the wheel in order to get it, he is sure to win. Adopt a definite purpose, and stand by that purpose until it had time to become an all-consuming obsession. What is it you really want? Do you want a better job? Do you want to succeed in your current career? If you desire so strongly, you will be able to make this desire a reality. Tony Robbins has a phrase, "Proximity is power." Is there a business leader who inspires you? What would it be like to work for them? What would you give up in order to make your dream a reality? The job hunt. Shift your thinking. Shift it away from need to get a job and focus on what you can give to a job, to a manager/owner. It's not about bucks per hour. It's about your energy, your destiny, and your future. Never quit. Never give up. Focus. Seek help. Make new connections. Take different approaches. Seek additional resources to help you improve your job search skills. Persist and find people who can help you to achieve your goals. Desire plus ideas plus plans plus massive action equals success. When you begin to think and grow rich, you will observe that riches begin with a state of mind, with the definiteness of purpose, with little or no hard work. For a job seeker, spend time getting excited, yes, excited about what your next bigger and better situation will be, and what life will be like for you once you achieve that. This is followed by finding all the necessary resources to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. Learn the art of changing your minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Clicto tweet equals you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Quote equals you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Where is your focus? If your thoughts are dominated by all the failings and shortcomings of your boss, then you are only going to magnify those flaws in your mind. This will only limit your chances for achievement. You need to either work for yourself or adapt yourself to some else's styles and philosophy if you want your career to grow. Desire, the turning point of achievement. Pull motivations. Where the outcome is so favorable to you that you are pulled toward the goal. Push motivations. A potentially negative outcome of a situation is also a powerful motivator. Where you are pushed to take action because of the negative consequences of not taking action. Your desire for a new job must be so powerful that you get leverage over yourself to do whatever it takes to get that job. You've got to use a combination of push and pull motivation. Career growth. Most job seekers are more preoccupied with ego-driven concerns such as their title, their hourly rate or salary, their benefits, etc., rather than how they will grow from being in the company and position. Your question should not be, "What do I get?" A better question is, "How will I grow?" Follow, then lead. Is there someone at the top of your field whom you admire? What if you were able to act as an apprentice to this person? How would that affect your career trajectory? Money. First, be definite as to the amount of money or type of job. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the compensation or position you desire. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to be in the position or achieve the compensation you desire. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit, state what you intend to give in return and describe the plan through which you plan to accumulate it. Sixth, read your written statement aloud, twice daily. Every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. Failure in a job, failure in school, getting laid off, getting fired. Look for the lessons and examine them without the emotional attachment of why something failed. Make a commitment with yourself to use failure as a stepping stone to your greatest accomplishments. Your best course of action is to create a plan for an even better situation. Tweet equals every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. Equals every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. Get more by helping others. In a work situation, you have to accept the fact that you are subjugating what you want to do in a work sense to what your employers want to do. You are helping the owners of the company achieve their goals and your managers achieve theirs. The more you can accept this and excel at it, the more you can advance your own interests. Job checklist. What is it that you desire above all else? As it pertains to your career, what is your ideal job? What are the traits of your ideal boss or manager? What would be your ideal company to work for? Faith, visualization of, and belief in attainment of desire. Faith is an essential ingredient for success as a job seeker, but it can't be the only ingredient. Nevertheless, faith is the glue that holds it all together. And faith is a state of mind which may be induced, or created, by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind, through the principle of autosuggestion. It is essential for you to encourage the positive emotions as dominating forces of your mind, and discourage and eliminate negative emotions. Faith is the starting point of all accumulations of riches. It is faith that is the basis of all miracles and all mysteries which cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. Faith is the only antidote for failure. If you can believe in yourself, then others will believe in you. Employers are always on the lookout for successful, confident people who can make a positive contribution. Self-confidence formula. I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life, therefore I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. And I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward, physical action, and gradually transform themselves into physical reality, Therefore I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily, upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become. I know through principle of auto-suggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. And I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying. I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure, unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. And I will induce others to serve me, because of my willingness to serve others. Sign your name to this, commit it to memory and repeat it daily, with full faith that it will gradually influence your thoughts and actions so you will become a self-reliant and successful person. Laws of attraction.